haven't seen any of.
Okay, I guess we kick it off.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from September 20, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Appointments, recognitions, and resignations. Consideration of appointment of Gail Marshall as school board member to fill the vacancy of Susan McCready until the municipal election of 2022.
Move appointment or with thanks.
Yes. Seconded. Yes.
And I assume, Gail, I see you there. You accept this task.
Great, thank you, Gail.
Yes, yes, I do. The honor, I think, is the word you were looking for.
Yes.
Honor, exactly.
Good.
Okay.
And your oath is ready when you are.
Good,
Thank you. I'll come in tomorrow.
much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Consent agenda. Thank you letter from Acadia Family Center, September 10, 2021. MRC, recent update on bypass waste and PERC. MRC update on the sale process of the Coastal Resources of Maine Solid Waste Handling Facility in Hamden.
I would move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second that.
Great.
Could I pull one
Anybody
item?
want to? Yeah, go ahead.
Is Tony's on the, I don't know which screen, I never know which screen.
Yeah, he's right there.
Tony, I was just wondering if you could give us, since this letter's been written, are there any updates on the lease situation with Coastal Resources?
Sorry, only one member has called with any questions about that. And no, nothing has changed since you folks received that, or even when I got it before you.
Okay.
It's good. It's a good thing. It'll expedite the process. If we wait until we have a serious offer, somebody that has the funding and the expertise to start it, then that's a 45-minute day waiting period. So we've started it now. So we can be ready and, as I saw in one letter, be nimble when the right person or company comes along.
Okay.
We received 2 new proposals on September the 30th. So we have the original person and 2 new companies interested.
Great, thank you.
Good.
You're welcome.
All right. Anybody else want to pull anything else? All in favor? Thank you. Selectmen's reports. Any selectmen's reports?
I just had some things that weren't on the agenda that I wanted to just get an update on. Berlin, the mapping at the marina, is that going forward? Did we find funding for
We
it?
did find funding, so that's all moving.
So it's moving forward.
Moving
Oh,
forward,
that's
yeah.
great. And also, a couple of months ago, we talked, or maybe, I don't know when it was. I think it was a couple of months ago, we talked to Noel Musson about coming up with some suggestions for what the town might do about the proliferation of weekly rentals. Has there been?
That's on the agenda, the Luso committee agenda.
Oh, it is. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
moved on to that. We'll have something for you.
And the third thing, sorry to, but I was looking for, we talked several times at this meeting about trying to find a way to do some recycling in the interim while we're waiting for something to be happening with the, whatever we're calling it now, the trash.
Yeah.
Is there any progress on that?
Yes. I've been in touch. Are you asking me?
Yes.
Now.
I've asked EMR for a proposal, and they're pulling together information for us. I checked with Ellsworth where we had been recycling. They're short-staffed and have too many materials as it is, and I have 2 or 3 other places to investigate. But I was waiting to hear from EMR because they're closer, which translates to lower transportation costs. What I would suggest is, if we are able to find someone to work with, lease 3 containers like we had before, someone to haul them, and they'll take them to EMR. I have a hunch one of the things EMR is figuring out is how and where to dump them, because they'll be single sort. Recycling now, people can just toss something down over a drop off into a big cardboard box. But yes, I've been working on that.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay,
You're
okay.
welcome.
And I have one question. Where are we with the Hall in Sonesville?
Where we are with the Hall, well, we've got 4 owners. I've been able to get in contact with one. The other 3 haven't been able to reach because the families don't communicate and they've got cell phones apparently instead of landlines. But I had been hoping to do something with the lease with the Masonic Hall. And so I was working with Kevin Edgecombe, who's the head of the Masons up there. But what's happened is they met with, I don't know, the insurance agent or something. They said, oh, go ahead, just continue the way you're going on that. So I was trying to get some sort of a formal agreement, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to work because of trying to get a hold of the people that are in there. I was hoping by a lease we could just sort of dovetail in with the Masons. I'll continue to pursue that to see if that's possible. That seems to be the quickest way to try to get at something along those lines because the owners just are not simpatico with one another. Let's put it that way.
Darlene, I was thinking, this may just be wouldn't work, but the church has a pretty big hall
They
there.
do have a nice hall.
Would make,
Could check that out.
might be interested in letting us rent that.
Yeah, I can check that out. Who is the charge of the church now these days up there? I bet
They had an interim minister. I think she may still be
Oh,
there.
cool.
Talk to Jerry too. Jerry would know, because Jerry lives in a house that belongs to the church.
Yeah,
I'll be able to find
Yeah.
that out. Yeah.
Or
Yeah, that's a good idea, Martha. Yeah, I like that idea. It's a nice.
it's spacious.
It is
Yeah.
spacious. It is. You could do just about everything that seems to be able to be done in the firehouse. You could probably do in there. I'm guessing.
They used to, didn't they used to have a Montessori school?
Yeah, they did,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
did a big remodel for their pies. They've got it's a nice space.
Yeah.
Maybe we could
They
get a
have-
formal lease for that or something.
Probably, well, you can't technically because they're not allowed to do anything but a donation because they're a church. They don't pay taxes on their property, so they can evict you, but they can't technically rent to you.
Right, but we might be able to work something out.
Yeah.
The other question I had was, have we seen the lease that the Masons have with
It's
these
a
property owners?
It's a kind of like an informal thing.
So they don't have because I mean, it might be that their lease allows them to sub.
I'll check it out, but my understanding is it's more or less a handshake deal that they've got going there. So
Okay.
I'll check with Kevin and take a look at it again.
Thanks.
Gotta love small towns.
Yeah, we'll see those handshakes in a minute.
No, that's good. Those are good ideas. I'll follow up on both of those.
Carolyn, can I ask, is this in reference to the community room that we use?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as a person who does elections, I'm wondering, when you check into this lease situation, how we would handle the summer elections in June or July when they're having their plays and stuff like that.
I think we probably have to have a summer election somewhere else.
At the
Have 'em here.
elementary school.
Have them here.
So
We used to have them here.
We used to have them here, but some of the elections, especially with the new COVID protocols, you wouldn't fit in here with the spacing there.
Parking could be an issue as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the summertime, you could use the gym at the elementary school, couldn't you?
No, we haven't been allowed in the schools for a couple of years.
Neighborhood test.
We could.
I
Well,
think when the time comes, we could figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out.
the leadership is changing in summer too. That might change the situation at the school.
And I was also talking to Mike Bender about, if we have to have a special town meeting or something, I think that our best bet would be, probably, is the fire base down here. He's willing to pull the tracks out. You can put quite a few people down in there, so maybe where we get a special town meeting, and we could probably even hold the annual if we wanted to down there.
That's a good idea, yeah.
yeah.
So he's all for it, so So things are progressing, that's another phase, but they are progressing.
All right.
The only other thing, just while we're revamping some stuff, is just, I know the immemorial suggestions and, you know, to get it maybe on an agenda item, to get some ideas about, are we gonna come up with some sort of policy, or, because we had that family that wanted to
Right.
put the stone bench at Pond's End.
We had a little discussion about that, just sort of informal.
Yeah, come up with design guides and so
Things
forth.
like that.
So I just want to make sure we don't lose track of that and get it
That's
on
a
an
good
agenda
point.
item.
That's true, because that
Yeah,
would
we're
vanish.
getting we're getting this, project on the marina done, you know, it's it for free, basically. And I was thinking maybe the same people might be interested in helping us with other green spaces in the town. Because this has come up before with Seal Harbor and other
It is-
places.
it
It's
is
gonna
these
come up
places,
again.
yeah.
People keep dying.
If you get one, though, it could be like the basic guidelines, you could apply to the specifics of the space, but you would have a general idea. of
Right,
perhaps segmenting areas in different places, so it could be easily, I think, adaptable to other areas of the town as well.
yeah.
I just know to those people, it means a
Yeah.
lot. So
Oh,
I-
sure.
And even potentially, I know we're gonna have eventually, like a pop-up park or two, or pop-out park, I guess they call it, on Main Street. So if there's like benches or seating involved with that, it would make sense just to repeat it. And again, I like the idea of maybe rather than engraving, put a plaque on something. And that way, when the item does need to eventually be replaced, you can just pop a new plaque on something else. So.
I think these things are all very doable,
Yep.
all good ideas, actually.
I agree with Wendy.
Plaques
that
off if you
those
found out these
back-
people are pedophiles like they've done at other schools.
Okay, anyway, yeah.
Moving on.
So,
Right,
yeah,
Karen,
we need to come up with a style guide.
Not drop the ball. I
Yeah,
guess we
that's-
talk about things and then, I mean,
Yeah.
that's something I could see easily just sort of vanishing off our radar and then.
So I guess the problem is who's gonna come up with a style guide?
So are you looking for the idea of,
Yeah, that's where it goes.
I mean, I just, you know, I know we get a lot of these requests, not a lot, but a few, and those few mean a lot to people. And, you know, I wonder if we'd be better off to take them as we get them, or are you looking at the idea of having a memorial thing on the green, and then if you
No,
want to,
I'm not thinking of that. What, I mean, I think this is, I'm not a landscape designer, so I wouldn't want to be responsible for figuring it out. But what I envision is that we have a plan for what we offer for memorials. We have a plan for the marina where we say, you know, we'd like a few more trees here or there. We'd like some more bench, you could put your name on a bench, an existing bench, something like that.
Menu of options.
A menu of options, exactly, because, and then maybe we have something similar, you know, the Seal Harbor, and this, not that these things are for sale,
No.
or that we're trying to raise funds, but when someone comes to us and said, I want to do something, we say, well, here's what you could do.
With the YMCA, they have the tiles on the wall.
Right,
Those are not the
That's
same
from
thing. Those are
donors,
from
yeah.
donors, but that, you know, it was part of the design.
right.
It wasn't just a secondary plaque. So if we had, you know, some sort of a landscape plan that could be expanded, not necessarily at the town's expense every time somebody, you know, if they had it, we could sure use another bench here, or perhaps you'd like to
Right.
plant some shrubs and
But
put, you know.
we sort of have a
Right.
plan rather than having people
Right.
just sticking a bunch of
Exactly.
uncomfortable.
I like that a lot.
Okay,
Somebody mentioned bricks along the lot.
yeah, so whose action item is this?
Well, that's basically on right now, is working with the garden club, and that's just to see what they come up with, that is guidelines that you can take.
who is the, like, who would, if I wanted to be the,
Elliot Andrews is involved in that, and she's been very active in this, and the person who is working on the plan for the marina is actually the one who did the landscaping down there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's also worked at Booth, and he knows what he's doing.
is he like a landscape architect or
Yes,
something?
yeah.
Okay, good. All right, unfinished business. Welcome, Kevin and John. Okay, confirmation of a project with Acadia National Park to study the health of Otter Creek Harbor through Thriving Earth Exchange. Want to talk about this?
Yeah, well, you know, we had the concept before, and I had the meeting with the folks. And we did, what I included for you in the packet was a confirmation that they want to do the project with Acadia National Park, so it's a go. And the next step is next week, they have a kickoff meeting via Zoom, where a lot of things will get laid out, and then we'll be part of the recruiting process for a volunteer scientist. And after that point, we map out what the project will be, and then we'll go from there. We're anticipating it'll be about 12 to 18 months total time to finish the project. After that, we should, the park and we will have a real good idea of what the situation is there. And then we have to decide, most of it's hard, but everyone has to kind of decide, okay, here's the recommendations, what do we do about it, if anything? So that is the whole, the goal of that. And Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm understanding that the causeway is up for some sort of refurbishing.
It's always having some level of refurbishing, just being a historic asset and that nature of it. So yes, there's always something that we're doing. We've been working on masonry for some time on it. I'm sure that will continue.
I was thinking, if it does come up in the study that causeway is a major problem, that this might be a time when some redesigns, keeping it within its historical attributes, might be able to do to improve that situation. If they come and say, yes, this is an awful problem, we're not getting any water in there, this is sort of maybe give us some bona fides to actually do something about that. So I'm looking forward to the results. I'm not going to prejudge what they may be, but I'm kind of excited. And I'm, again, excited to partner with the park on this whole thing. Yeah. It'll be good. I look forward to it. It'll be fun.
Good. Now, do you need?
Don't need anything.
Okay.
Just this was an update for you.
All right.
That's all.
New business, discussion regarding Acadia National Park proposed use of Town Hill parcel for workforce housing with John Kelly and Kevin Schneider.
So for this one, you move up so the mic catches us.
Okay.
I can provide a little bit of a background for you if you're not real familiar with it. This parcel that we're talking about is what we call the Town Hill parcel. It's was identified in Acadia's 1986 legislation as being legislatively restricted to be a transfer station. And almost as soon as the legislation passed in 1986, it became apparent that it was never going to become a transfer station. Neighborhoods had kind of grown in around it, and that's only continued since that time. So for many years, we've been thinking about what we might do with that. And the past several years, obviously, one of the biggest issues that we're all facing is affordable housing, workforce housing, both for our own municipal or federal government employees, but also for the community. And so right before the pandemic started in January of 2020, we held a meeting with town managers on the island, the Acadia Disposal District. Tony Smith was there and has participated, and start to think about what do we do with this parcel. And we sort of brought up the concept of using it for workforce housing. Pandemic happened, it kind of got put into the back seat, but just about a month or so ago, we sort of brought everyone back together to kind of rethink about, again, what do we want to do with this parcel? We did a little bit of sort of desktop mapping and exercises to look at the land mass, to look at what the zoning is, what the identified wetlands are, that kind of thing in intervening months. And really the consensus has come around to using it for affordable housing, for workforce housing. Marla O'Brien's on the call as well. I think Marla's calling in from on Zoom. And so the concept that we've kind of come around to, it's a 55-acre parcel, is to for the Park Service to give 40 of those acres to Island Housing Trust, that the Island Housing Trust would have to be able to use just like they do for any of their other workforce housing projects. And then the other 10 or 15 acres, the Park Service would retain for our employee housing needs into the future. And so things like first responders for us is what we would be looking at for that. People like law enforcement rangers that are responding after hours, that kind of thing. typically need to have a short distance from home to be able to respond if something goes wrong. And that's really the proposal. And so John and I have been sort of going around to the various towns on the island. Mount Desert happens to be the last town. We've been to the other three in the last few weeks to sort of get consensus or sort of get your input for this proposal or for this concept. It's going to take legislation in order to accomplish, because the 1986 legislation only allows it to be used as a transfer station. So, that obviously is a little bit of doing to get legislation done for this. But, this is the long game, and we think this is probably, the single greatest need that everyone faces is affordable housing, workforce housing. And so what we're hoping to do is try to build consensus at the local level, which will then give the delegation sort of confidence that they need to move forward with legislation. And with Senator King as chairman of the National Park Subcommittee right now on the Senate, we're in a really good position to be able to move something. We've got Congressman Pingree as the chair of Interior Appropriations on the House side. So we're well positioned to be able to do something, and it seems like an opportune moment. So Derlin's been involved in the conversations, as has Tony Smith as well, representing the Katy Disposal District. So we'd love to hear any feedback or thoughts you may have. If it's something you want to do, or if it's something that this board supports, having some kind of motion could be valuable to be able to say to the delegation, all 4 towns on the island unanimously support this concept.
Is there a thought that this project, if it goes forward, could be combined with greater public transportation to avoid having just more cars?
Certainly, we're looking at future islands before, after 2 down years of that, and it already serves Town Hill, so to focus on that is a real possibility.
Yeah.
And we're not at the stage where we know the design, but building a bus stop there or some type of transportation is certainly possible.
And expanding possibly into year-round, there would be year-round housing there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so
in addition to what the park.
Marla can speak for how the Island Housing Trust would want to use it. It would really be up to them. Our vision for the Park Services, 10 or 15 acres, would be that we would use it for our permanent workforce that we need to have housed here. Right now, we don't have any of our permanent workforce in park housing. We have about 5 law enforcement rangers that live on the island. But we anticipate when those people retire, the replacements won't be able to afford a place on the island. And so we're starting to think about sort of 10 to 15 years ago from now. So this could be a sort of a nice card in our pocket to have for workforce housing for ourselves. Our seasonal workforce, we do house in park housing. We've got about 80 beds scattered around the park, but the vision for this site for us would really be for our year-round workforce to house them.
And it would be part of the town of Bar Harbor.
It's in the town of Bar Harbor.
I asked you a question. I read through, I appreciate the write-up, but there was some discussion about, originally there was a right-of-way, which then was subdivided, and so no longer exists. So what progress has been made or thoughts on that? That's kind of a significant issue.
Yeah, that's the other major track, and so one is the legislative change.
Right.
The other is the due diligence and understanding not only where and how we would access the land, but what is the development potential of the property. Before moving forward on those 2 major fronts, we've had 3 towns pass motions that support the concept of housing, but not the details of what acreage and all that. So to move forward and to look at that issue, having this consensus will allow us to dig in deeper. We're actually getting help right now, thanks to Marla and at IHT, and then Misha Mitar at MCHT are also sort of helping us look into that question right now.
I actually bought the first house on the Ripples Hill subdivision there from the Island Housing Trust. I was all alone up there on that hill to start with. So I'm fully supportive of IHT and their work, at least in my experience, it was very, very positive.
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, we have to address that issue, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Marla, could you speak to your vision for this project?
It is so preliminary, we really don't have a vision for this, but in talking about what would happen with the land, we we're in a group of stakeholders, and I guess my vision right now would be a collaborative process with the towns so that we can create a community that's going to benefit the 4 towns, and the 4 towns are going to feel invested in this. And that's about as far as we've gone.
All right.
So would it be, sounds like it would be beneficial for us to maybe draft a letter of support for this, the concept at least?
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is like that concept level, like not
Right.
exactly, you know, which 15 acres of a park retain, you know,
Yeah.
we just need sort of the concept so that we can all sort of feel invested and move forward, and the delegation can as well, because legislation's likely to take a few years. So,
Well, having to come up with those details is a really good problem to have, actually.
I mean, starting with the motion is key, and what letters of support or, you know, that additional involvement will unfold.
I would make a motion that this board support the effort to investigate further this process, and I think that it's definitely a need that we'd all agree is in place. So I would move that we support you in your efforts to develop this idea. Is that enough for the?
I would second that.
Great.
I think it's
All
a
in favor?
win-win.
Good.
great,
Good,
thank you for thinking
Excellent.
about that
Yeah.
consideration of it, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Marla.
Good luck. Yeah.
Thank you, Marla.
Thanks, Marla.
Great.
Good to see you both.
Yeah.
Consideration of purchasing our FY22 winter sand from Harold McQueen Inc. at a price of $11.50 per cubic yard delivered.
Move we approve that choice by Tony, our trusted public guy, public works guy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
Consideration of MRC Board of Directors nomination form.
John?
Yes, go ahead.
You completed a similar form a few years ago when you nominated me to run for the board. And if you have someone else, another you'd like to nominate, you can. Otherwise, you don't have to do anything. My term goes for another, to the end of next year.
Well,
All right.
we don't have to do anything.
So we're not, I was a little confused too. I mean, I wasn't sure if you were giving us an opportunity to nominate you for another term?
No.
Or is
That-
that not the situation?
Correct. That would be next year, and I
Okay,
hope to run because I'd like to see this thing through.
so we don't need to act on your situation at this time at all.
Correct.
But if we have an additional person we'd like to nominate, we may.
Correct.
Thank you.
Is anybody knocking down the door to,
Oh, yeah.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
Court.
gosh, guess we better.
All right. Do you need us to do anything with that?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, request authorization for the fire chief, thank you, Tony. Request authorization for the fire
Thank you.
chief to sign, execute a contract with Maine Maritime Academy to provide the fire department's breathing air cascade compressor vehicle along with an operator in support of their student fire training program at the Ellsworth Fire Training Center.
That's what you did last year.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
talked about this
Move
Move
before.
approval.
Seconded.
All in favor? Great. Okay, letter to Governor Mills regarding the town of Mount Desert's opposition to the American Aquafarm's proposal for aquaculture farm in Frenchman Bay.
I'm sorry, but I found an error. I'm really sorry, darling. You should have done this earlier, but in the second paragraph, on the third line, it says, each of these pens is 150 feet wide and are expected.
And they are expected, yeah, they should say, you're right, they don't agree. That was an each, the each was the part that I suggested needed to be is, but it needed to be followed by, and they are.
But
as
is
a-
each of the pens expected to
No.
generate 20? See, that's what
No.
it's, see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Do you see what I mean, darling? I'm sorry.
His eyes are crossing, I can hear him
I
crossing
know,
from
I
here.
know, I know.
So
But-
collectively, they'll have
Collectively,
66 million
right.
pounds of
Yeah,
sand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be
Yeah.
tweaked there. I'm sorry.
I have a question. Since the signature page is page 2, separate from the body of the letter, do you want to go ahead and
Yes.
sign that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that could be contingent upon the changes. that we
Great
talked about.
idea.
Yeah, okay, I move that we accept this letter and sign it contingent upon correcting that line.
Should we ask if there's any public input?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have to be moved.
Well, you
second.
moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Anybody want to chime in on this?
Then I'll speak at once.
It's an easy correction on that thing, I can correct that in the morning.
Well, and if you, actually, there's a little,
Good suggestion,
there's an
Claire.
additional space, right?
It's
working.
Right here, not that I care about that.
Why don't you give me
Could've done that
that
6 months
first one, that correction that you wanted,
Okay.
and then if you want another space, I can put another.
Oh, it's just at the end of it, it just looks funny. It doesn't, you see, it's like Mount Desert, it doesn't really matter, but that's just, those are little things that jump out to
What's the
me.
problem with it?
This one's indented,
Oh.
those are.
Math, he's a math teacher.
Yeah.
He's gonna get his red
It's a
pen out.
different size
Details.
font too. Well, I grew up with it. My dad was an English major at
Yeah,
Amherst
yeah,
College,
writing
taught
their own
college
letters
English.
next.
Anyway,
No, please.
No, that's fine,
Okay.
we want it to go out to the government to be just right.
All right,
Not that
so
she's ever-
I'm not hearing any input. Anybody have anything to say?
We'll correct that in the
All right.
mail.
All in favor? Great.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Darlene. Really, thank you. That was great. Request approval to carry forward unexpended FY '21 amounts to the FY '22 budget for the following account numbers and the following amounts. Account number 1770100-54540, Community Development, $4,000, requested by Town Manager Derlin Lunt. Account 1220440-53900, Planning Board Scenic Vistas Steep Slopes, $35,677, requested by Code Enforcement Officer Kim Keen.
On that, the 4,000 I want to carry forth into the broadband, because we'd hoped to do more on that with consultants last year, then of course COVID, like everything else, came. So this year, it looks like we can maybe continue things we need. I'd like to have that money there in for consulting in case we can really push forward. And the other one, the steep slopes, that's one that we carry every year because that was very specific on that project over on Somme Sound, those roads, as you may remember. That has never taken place, but we're carrying the money until such time as it maybe either does take place or we can figure a way to honor the original intent of that particular gift and spend it in a way that is still consistent with the wishes of the donor. So it's
Can you remind me what that was again?
well, there was a housing development that was supposed to go in on there, and there was gonna be some studies involved around that, why that grant was taken. Then the project stopped, but the money was still there and it was never asked to be returned.
I see.
So we'll keep it until such time as that either that project comes back or we can think of a legitimate and consistent way to spend that money with the gift donor. So it's been carried for a number of years. We can continue with it again. Someday we'll use it, I hope.
All right,
All right, move approval?
Second?
all in
Right,
favor?
yeah, thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. Okay, other business?
You need to vote?
We did.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
In the end, so.
Other business, any other business? Treasurer's warrants, approve and sign treasurer's warrants as shown, town invoice AP 2182 and AP 22818 in the amount of $141,221.71.
Move approval?
Second,
All in favor? Approve, sign treasurer's payroll, state fees, and payroll benefit warrants as shown. State fees and payroll benefits AP 2216, AP 2217, town payroll PR 2208 in the amount of $198,167.73.
Move approval?
second.
All in favor? And one abstention.
one abstention.
Acknowledge Treasurer School Board AP payroll warrants as shown below. School invoice number 7 in the amount of $87,799.90.
Move acknowledgement.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Very good.
Got some stuff for us?